Thank you for being here. Today's idea is to kind of work a little bit with the concept of purpose, and mainly what it means for me and what it has meant for me in this journey. I feel like the word purpose is like such a big word, and a lot of the times in coaching, it's kind of like I don't know if misused is the word, but it's kind of like very marketing-y kind of thing. So today I want to share some things that have helped me in my journey towards connecting with my purpose. So that's why today's class is called Connecting with My Purpose, and not something like finding my purpose or stuff like that, because I do believe that it's a long journey. And it's not something that you can do in like 10 minutes or an hour or even like a week or a year. So for me, purpose is kind of having a way that is clear and not necessarily knowing which steps you're taking, not necessarily knowing exactly where you're going, but at least having a direction. And for me, my purpose kind of came in different times. And when I was younger, I was really connected with teaching English, and I was like 19 or 20, and I always thought that that was my purpose, like teaching English and being in front of a class. And then when I started to kind of include other tools like coaching and working with Ikigai, and with meditation, like deeper meditations, I realized that like our purpose is not one thing. Like many people might think that it is just one thing, like this is my purpose and this is going to be my purpose for the rest of my life. And for me, my purpose has been kind of knowing when to pivot, when to change directions, and understanding that a lot of the times where you're going might look different every time, every day. So for me, I believe that my purpose has to do with guiding others to kind of find their light and find their way. In that time, it was maybe through teaching English. Now I think it's more through creativity and meditation. And I don't know if in 5 years I'm going to feel the same way. But right now, this is the thing that excites me. This is the thing that makes me wake up and be like, I'm on the right path, even though I might be doing other things on the sides or whatever. Like, this is the one thing that I'm like, this is my path. And I know that is the right thing for me. And the thing that also excites me. So a lot of the times we might think that our purpose is this massive thing. And for me, it's also when you're a little bit lost and you don't know which way to go, for me, it's about following those things that bring you joy and following those things that when you see something that someone else is doing maybe, or when you see something out there and it makes you go like, I wish that was me, or I wish I was doing that, or I want to do something like that. Those little things, I think, are signs that the universe or whatever put in us, so that when we feel a little bit lost, we can find our way again. So starting to pay attention to those things, I think, is like one of the most important things. Just give me a sec. So I think that's one of the most important things, to kind of start to pay attention. So I think when you start this journey of kind of finding your way and connecting with your path, it's important to start to become more aware and more open to those maybe like signs that the universe gives you, or those people that you meet that are like, oh, I think that like that's something that I want to do. Or paying attention to the things that bring you that joy and to the things that bring you growth as well. Because I was talking a little bit about this in yesterday's class. You both girls were here. But a lot of the times we think that the universe sends us like these big, massive lessons in like full of glitter and full of like beautiful things. And really, a lot of the times, a lesson might just be like quitting a job or changing doing like a small action. Like the day I started painting, for me, it didn't look like a massive thing, but after you do something over and over and over, and you keep putting your energy into something, you will notice that change. You will notice that something changes, something switches. And for me, it's always towards walking towards that something more than just big, massive changes. So small changes every day, and being aware of everything that makes you feel joy. I don't know if you watched the movie Soul, but they talk a lot about purpose, and about how sometimes we think that like the one thing that we are good at, or the one thing that we like to do, oh, that's our purpose. But they say that like that's your spark. So that's like those little signs that they were put into you to kind of remind you why you're here, remind you what you're supposed to be doing. But they're not everything, right? And one of my yoga teachers in my yoga training used to say this about purpose. So in yoga, purpose is dharma. So it's kind of like that thing that you came to do. And the thing with dharma, she said, that is something that can never be taken away from you. And that really resonated with me, because she's like a great teacher, and she's like an example for me to follow. And I always thought, like, obviously yoga has to do, with her dharma. And she was like, teaching yoga is not my dharma, because if tomorrow I can't move anymore, like, that's not it. But it might be about inspiring others to kind of take action or to live this lifestyle. And it got me thinking about that, because for me, my purpose is a lot bigger than just one action that you might be doing, or a job, or something that you do in your life. Like, it's much bigger. It's a direction. And it's also, for me, like, the closest you are to being who you actually are, the closest you are to your purpose. So it's about getting to know yourself so much that you know which way to go. And it's kind of like everything is just in harmony. So we're going to get started with a little meditation. I'm going to put the link here if you want to listen to music while you do it. It's going to be shorter than the usual meditations we do, because today I just want to give you like a few little bits of tools and stuff connected to this journey. So just make sure you're in a comfortable seat. If you want to listen to music, like, you can probably play it on your computer or on your phone, just something separate. And we're going to get started with a little meditation for clarity. So I like to do these meditations that are related to the energy codes. So they're kind of similar to the chakras, but it's a bit of a different system, in which we always focus on this central line of the body, and we keep bringing the energy to the center. So this is a little bit of what we're going to do today before we get started with our journaling and the other stuff. So make sure you're in a comfortable seat, as grounded as you can, and slowly start moving your shoulders up and back, maybe your neck as well. Really slowly starting to just connect with your body, connect with how you're feeling right now. Start to connect with your breath. Do any movements that you might need, like maybe stretching with your arm to one side, stretching the arm to the other side. Starting to feel this connection to your body, to your spine. Maybe even to those spaces where you might be holding on to tension. Simply observe them. Relax your hands. Let them rest on your knees. Relax your shoulders. Relax your face. Slowly starting to arrive to the space. Start to observe your breath. Connect with your heartbeats. How is your body feeling today? Our bodies have this incredible intelligence that help us to know which way to go. Today, we plant that seed and let it know that your body know that you are here to listen and to slowly open up. Start to observe where your breath is going. If it's more on your chest, start to bring your breath to the lower belly. Starting to bring some balance to your breath. Some grounding. In the next inhale, bring your attention to the base of your spine. Simply bring your breath to that space, observing what's there today. Observe how every inhale helps that area expand, and every exhale slowly cleanses anything that is no longer needed. Start to visualize this breath moving up your spine from the base all the way up to the top of your head. From the top of your head all the way back down to the earth. Start to visualize this central channel of breath, this central line that moves up and down, energizing your body, filling your body with awareness. Feeling how the breath is connected with all these energetic points from your root to your sacral chakra, your solar plexus, your heart, your throat, your third eye, and your crown chakra, the space on the top of your head. And visualize how this breath travels all the way back down. Start to slowly travel through your body, becoming curious, becoming an explorer of your own energy. Keep breathing through the central channel, and if there's any external noises or any thoughts, just let them come and go. Become transparent, flowy like water, and just allow things to come and go with no resistance. In the next inhale, breathe from the root all the way up to your heart. And place your left hand on your heart and your right hand on top, feeling that heartbeat, feeling that connection to your heart. Your heart is part of this guidance, part of this clarity. Those things that bring you joy, that bring you expansion. How much of those things are we doing? How much are we listening to our hearts? Breathe through the back of your heart, inhaling, doming your back, bringing more and more space. Exhaling, allowing your heart to relax. And the next inhale, let go of the hands and bring your attention to the space between your eyebrows. The space of our third eye. Slowly awakening. And place a little seed there, a little seed of intention. The intention of bringing clarity, of planting this seed of clarity and guidance. Breathe through your third eye, bringing your inhales and your exhales to that space. How does intuition feel in your body? Can you recognize the signs? How does a full body yes feel in your body? When you have to change paths, when you have to make a decision. We want these energetic points to be in harmony, to be open, to feel expansive. Visualize yourself in front of you. Visualize yourself being a year from now, your future self right in front of you. Taking that big step towards that clarity, towards that path. What are 3 things that you wish this future self knew? Talk to her. Maybe give her a few bits of advice, a few tips to guide you through this journey. And keep breathing through your third eye, visualizing the future self in front of you. How does he or she feel? How does your body feel? What are you doing? How does your routine look like? What are you putting energy into? Who are the people around you? And keep coming back to that feeling. How do you feel in that future self? Give your future self a big, tight hug, letting her know that today you're planting a little seed that you're both gonna see grow. While you observe this future self leaving, excited for what's coming, slowly start to come back to your body, come back to this space. Coming back to that central channel of your breath from the base of your spine all the way up. And from the top of the head all the way back down. You have 3 more breaths here. let them be for you. Maybe to ask for a little bit of guidance, maybe to ask for a message. Just let these 3 breaths allow these seeds to settle. When you finish your last exhale here, slowly bring your arms up to the sky, allowing your palms to touch overhead. And bring your palms close to your heart. Once again, breathing through that seed that we just planted today, of observing this future self, giving her some tools, giving him some tools to walk this path with guidance. And when you're ready, you can let go of the hands and slowly start to come back to your body. Maybe moving your shoulders, moving your head from one side to the other. And when you're ready, you can slowly open up your eyes. Before we keep talking, I would like you to grab your journal, and I'm going to give you about 5 minutes. And I want you to just write down any messages that might have come up and doodle a little bit of how this future self might look like. It doesn't have to be a good drawing, it can just be a doodle, but maybe you draw yourself, like even as a stick person, that's perfect. And write at least 3 things that came up for you. They might be words, they might be questions, they might be visuals, just bringing that to earth a little bit. So I'll give you about 5 minutes to do that. Just draw yourself in however way and write 3 messages, 3 words that came up during the meditation, maybe 3 feelings, whatever came up for you. I have about 2 more minutes. All right. So for me, art and journaling are a great way to kind of understand where I am and understand where I want to go. When it comes to sort of starting this journey of connecting with our purpose and connecting with the things that we believe that we should be doing and the journey that we believe we should be walking on. Um, for me, journaling and drawing brings a lot of clarity because it's a way of kind of like allowing the mind to take a step back and really listening to those raw emotions that we might be feeling, and really like finding answers or questions that we never knew were there. So for me, when this journey kind of started, I realized that I didn't want to teach English anymore. I'm still teaching, but when I started this, I was teaching full time, even more than full time. And I knew that that wasn't my path. And for me, the signals of knowing that that wasn't my path, like I said, they didn't look pretty. Like they were actually exhaustion, burnout, which I found out later. Um, I didn't feel like doing any of the stuff that I actually liked to do. I was feeling really, really tired. And I also felt like I was getting up in the morning and I didn't know why I was doing it. Like I was just on like this mode of like the complete opposite of what awareness would be. So I was like completely unaware of my why, completely unaware of why I was doing this. And the thing is, even though purpose is not our job, a lot of the times it has to do with it because we dedicate so much time of work in our lives, right? So if for a lot of us, like a lot of people have a lot of energy and they might be able to, you know, go to work for 8 hours and then work on what they feel is their path on like a charity or even like groups or community or whatever. But for a lot of us, our energy is limited. Like I've been feeling like this a lot more lately. Like my energy is not unlimited. So where I put my energy, I want it to be a space of growth for me. We're all different, but obviously today I'm sharing it from my side. But for me, it's really important that wherever I'm putting this energy every day is a space that is growing and that I'm proud of it. So for me, seeing people grow and seeing people find those aha moments in my coaching program or in classes or even in workshops, reconnecting with creativity, like for me, that makes it all worth it. So it's different for all of us, but sometimes it's about starting with something small. Like when I started this journey, I had no idea like what I was doing, to be honest. Like I wasn't an artist, I wasn't particularly talented. And I started painting and I was like, I really don't know where this is gonna lead me, but I knew that was the right thing because art kept calling me from different things. Like I kept seeing people being artists and teaching art workshops, and I was like, I really want to do that. Like I wish that was me. Or I kept going to like museums and stuff, and I felt this expansion in my heart that I couldn't explain. And those things don't happen to all of us with the same things. And that's when I was like, wow, like this is my path. I don't know how I'm going to walk it, but I know I have to start, because if I didn't start that day, it would like be delayed and delayed and delayed. And if I look back, I realized that it was actually always there. Like I was always like around creative people, and I was always doing creative courses while studying my degree in marketing and business. And I was always told like, you are on the wrong career. Like this is not the career for you. And I knew that, but I decided that it was a good idea to shut that down and be like, no, 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 no. Like this is my path, because it has to be my path. And this path will keep coming back to you. So this is why for me, meditation, journaling, and art is so important in this journey, because it helps you to be more aware and more open to these signs, right? And if it gets to a point that you keep shutting it down, like the body is going to get tired, it's going to get sick. Like it happened to me. I was like burned out. I was extremely tired. My brain was like done. And when I let go of that job, my body was just like thank God for that. So those are the little signs that sometimes we want to be looking for, those things that make you feel expansive, that if you connect with your intuition and you connect with your body, it feels expansive and it feels like, yes, I'm so excited to take this next step. While the things that we slowly have to start letting go of are those things that when you think about making that next step, it's like your heart kind of shrinks, you know, like your heart is shut down and you feel like you're moving through your fear, like you're moving with fear instead of moving with your heart, like moving because I need to do this because of this and this and that. And it's usually very mental. However, those things that help us walk on our path are more things that are like, I don't know why, but I know that this is the right thing for me. So it takes a lot of practice. Like for me, it took a lot of practice and a lot of reconnecting with my intuition and our trust, because I feel like I broke that a bit in the past few years. Because if your intuition keeps showing up and being like, hey, this is your path, like you asked me for a sign, there you go, and you keep going like, oh yeah, but no, then it's like it starts to become like less loud every time. So what we want to do is kind of reconnect with that intuition and start to trust those little steps. You're like, this doesn't make much sense, but I know that I have to do it. Like for me, it was like, I started doing these workshops about like 5 years ago. And at the time, I didn't know anyone who was doing like art and yoga. I started with art and yoga because it was just when I was finishing my yoga training. And it didn't make sense to me. I was like, people are just gonna like come and do yoga and then do art. It's like, it doesn't make sense. But I knew I had to do it because it made sense in my practice. That was the practice that I was doing. So I was like, why wouldn't it make sense for others? So that's how it all started. And for me, it started from a space of playfulness and trying things more than a place of like, this is what I have to do because this is what I was told was the right thing. And it was the first time that I did something that I had like literally no idea what I was doing. I was like so scared of teaching that yoga class because I was like, I knew so much about teaching English. Like I felt so confident in front of a class. It's like, why am I putting myself in this vulnerable space of teaching something that I've never taught before? And that's the thing. In the beginning, it's really scary, right? Because we've never done it. It's not because it's the wrong path, but it's because it's something that we've never done. So you're clearly scared or you're clearly like confused and you don't know where to go. But if you don't take that first step, you're never gonna know. So those things that you're like, oh, I wish I took that step, or like I can't live without knowing how this would look like in reality, those are the things that are the right signs for you to be following. And for me, it was that. And the first workshop, I had like 2 people. I had no idea what I was doing. But then those 2 people kept coming back and they started bringing friends. And I was like, there's something magical happening here. And it doesn't mean that there are no like better yoga teachers than me or like way better artists than me. But the way that I do it is unique to me and to my skills and to this little box of tools that I have been collecting through my life. So anything that if you look at yourself from an outsider's perspective, you're unique in like a lot of the things that you have, a lot of your characteristics. So those are the things that we want to use to start walking this path. Because when we fall into that comparison thing, it's like we lost. So it's really important to keep coming back to yourself and be like, what are the skills that I believe that I have that I can share with the world and that the world also needs? Because for me, it was like, I live in this country where a lot of the things look perfect, but I can see a lot of people being completely disconnected from their bodies. And then when I studied my master's in education in special needs, there was a subject that talked about interoception. So interoception is our ability to connect with our body signals. So being like, oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I know I'm hungry because my belly is rumbling and I know I'm hungry. Or I'm thirsty because I can feel my throat. So those are the signals, the more physical signals of like basic needs. But we also have that with anxiety. We also have that with feeling like this is the right choice or this is the wrong choice. So coming back to our bodies is really important. So for me, blending mindfulness and yoga makes a lot of sense because it helps us to come back to our bodies and then have a space of like a lot more flow than if you just like come to a blank page and you're like, okay, now I have to paint, or okay, what am I doing with my life? You come from a space of being gentle with yourself and being like, okay, I'm here now, I'm open. What is the next step? So always coming back to yourselves in that space of gentleness and in that space of being like, I'm here and I'm trusting. Because usually the next step or the right path is not logical. It's not, I think it's this writer, Joseph Campbell. I love him. And he has a quote that says like, if the path is clear, then it's not your path. So when we think that, oh, this makes sense, it's probably not your path, because your path is the path that you create yourself, and you create it by walking it, and you create it by making mistakes, and you create it by trying and testing and going here and going there, and always coming back to how you're feeling. So how did this feel, right? When I started doing my workshops, I didn't know which kind of people I wanted to work with. It was like, okay, whoever wants to come, like, come. But then it gets to a point when you realize who you want to work with, and you realize what are the things that work for you. And for me, it's all about creativity, and it's all about being this space of community and this safe space of creation. I don't really care about having any students that are going to win an Archibald Prize, because I'm not that kind of artist. So, and I'm okay with that. But in the beginning, I was a bit like, is this the right thing for me? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not good enough. So in the beginning, we all feel like that. Like it's inevitable because you're just starting. But then when you walk the path, you're going to start to feel who is the right people. Who are the people that are going to help you in this path? Who are the people that you want to work with in this path? Like, I feel really lucky. Like every time I touch wood, right? But every workshop I do, every class I do, especially in the last 6 months, where I have been really focused on just sticking to who I am and not trying to do something that goes out of that. The people that come to my workshops are people that, like, they're the best. Like, seriously, like, I don't know, I feel really lucky, but I never see a person there that I'm like, what is this person doing here? Like, and I think that has to do with the way I communicate things, right? Because I'm like, this is my path and this is the path I'm walking, and I trust it. And slowly people start to connect with you, and other people are going to connect with other people because they're the right people to guide them. So whatever you kind of feel like is your path, for me, it's trusting that path and walking it. And the beginning is going to look really scary. And then it's going to keep being scary because you're going to keep fighting different fears. Like the more you grow, the more things are going to, keep growing, and you're going to keep growing as a person as well. So that will mean that you will have to face different fears, maybe not the same ones that you started with, but different fears. So being able to walk that discomfort, for me, is like one of the most important things in this path. So listening to that intuition, really connecting with your body signals, and trusting that journey, even though it is going to probably be uncomfortable, and you're probably going to have to walk and work through fears. I mean, like, I don't know if this was the right step. Like, we never know if it was the right step. But at least it was the step that you took with your heart and with that full knowing that you had to try that. So it's really important that we keep coming back to our bodies. When we start to be in our minds too much, that's when I think something breaks there, because it's about coming back to our bodies and coming back to those signals that our intuition is trying to give us through our bodies, through the outside world, through those feelings, more than thinking, more than trying to understand something, coming back to that space of openness. So we're going to do a little journaling thing now. We're not going to do all of them, but we're going to do one of them. So these are some journaling prompts that I use. Let me see if I can open this. Yeah, that I use in my everyday life, in my coaching program. Sometimes I put it in classes as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to do 2 of them, and then the other ones I'm going to send these afterwards with the recording as well. And then you can do them on your own or keep working. Like, I don't want to bombard you with too much stuff today. But the idea of this, and it's also a perfect time to be doing it, because tomorrow we have a new moon. So it's a great time to start planting new seeds, and to sort of, we have spring coming up. So to start to kind of open to all these things. So the first prompt is, what is the hardest lesson you had to learn? So I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to just throw all the stuff on the paper that you can think of. What is the hardest lesson you had to learn? Maybe even trying to think how this lesson made you who you are today. It doesn't have to be only one, it can be more than one. But how did that lesson bring you to who you are right now today? And the next one I'd like you to work with of these ones. Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay, great. Is, what are you drawn to? So what are those things, even like weird stuff? Like for me, like, I'm somehow drawn to like mini things. I don't know why. But working with clay and like doing those things was like a really nice journey for me in creativity. So like, what are those things that you see in the outside world that call your attention? Like, you don't know why, but you're like, oh, like, I'm really interested in that. So what are those things that you feel drawn to? Alrighty. So here I wrote down a few little things, like a few things I learned about purpose that I think have been kind of like my guide when I feel a bit lost. One of them is part of like a book that I used to read for the ones that speak Spanish. I don't know if you know him, but there's a writer called Jorge Bucay, and he writes like basically like lessons, but like into stories. And I love that way of learning. And there's a book in which he talks about that. Like he says something like happiness is being sure that you're on the right path. And for me, like I read that when I was pretty young, and it changed my way of seeing things, because I feel like a lot of the times we think that being like living our purpose or happiness or whatever feels like being happy all the time, or like good things happening to us all the time. And it made me change my perspective of being like, it's about knowing that you are on the right path. Like, I don't know if I'm like a bit more to the right or a bit more to the left, but at least I know I'm walking the path. I don't know how this path is going to look like in 10 years, but at least I have this certainty that I'm walking the right path. And that is really important for me. Like, it's all about the journey. It's all about like having a direction more than like a destination, or more than like a one thing that you're working on. And that you're already living it. Like, this is something that one of my other teachers in my yoga training said, and I was like, that is so interesting, because a lot of the times we're constantly like, oh, like I want to live my purpose, or oh, where's my purpose? And like we're already living it, like we're already on it. So if you are kind of feeling like, oh no, like I need to change paths, that's already that thing there being there for you. If you are living it more or less, that is something else that has to do with the decisions that you make, but you're already in it. So knowing that all those signals, all those feelings, all those things are already that purpose being materialized somehow. Yeah, and like it's not all great and fun. Like sometimes you're gonna have to work through discomfort, and you're gonna have to face your fears and work through it, and it's gonna feel uncomfortable. And that is really important. And the last thing is, yeah, connect with it from a space of play, not from a space of thinking. So when we do the coaching sessions, usually they are about 3 months. So what I tell people who join it is like, give yourself 3 months to play and to explore. And I think that really helps me. Like one of the coaching that I did personally with me, the coach, it was 6 months, and she was like, just give yourself 6 months to see what happens, like to do things differently and see what happens. And for me, that was really helpful, because if you tell me like, okay, from now on, we're going to do things differently, I'd be like, I don't know about that. But when someone gives you a time frame, like 3 months or 6 months, for me, it's really helpful, because it's like, okay, I have 3 months of this long life, hopefully, that is just to explore and to see what happens. So today we're obviously planting like the tiniest seed, and I want to give you like all these little tools, but maybe give yourselves like a month, you see, until the next new moon. Just give yourselves a month to kind of like wake up every day and journal, even if it's for literally 5 minutes, to do a meditation, like similar to the one we did, like follow that central channel of breath. Connect with those things that you like, connect with those things that bring you joy, to those things that you're drawn to. Start exploring something else. So doing little steps for a month, just to see what happens, just to see how you feel. I think like when you're really trying to change paths, or when you're trying something new, it's really important to do little steps towards that, and not trying to change like your whole life in one day, because like that's not true. It never happens like that in real life. So just slowly starting to take those little steps, and just be more aware of everything around you, be more aware of the things that you're drawn to, and maybe write down, and how does that relate to that future self that you saw in your meditation. So slowly starting to become a little bit more aware. Alrighty, and this brings me to our last little bit of the session for today. So Ikigai is a really important tool for me. actually the first workshop, the first coaching workshop I ever did was on only Ikigai. It was an online class I did like 7 years or 8 years ago with another coach. And it was actually really powerful. If you don't know what Ikigai is basically it's a Japanese concept. And if you've ever been to Japan, you would realize that people are very committed to their roles. So like if they are, I don't know, a bun seller, like a sushi seller, they're really into it. Like you'll never see a Japanese being like, hey, how are you? Like whatever. Like they're very committed to it. And for them, Ikigai is that. It's like their place in society, that they are the right person to do that thing. I work with Ikigai a little bit differently. So I like to work with Ikigai in a more creative way. This is usually part of like a whole hour and a half, 2 hour session. So we're not going to do the whole thing, but today we're going to slowly start it. So Ikigai is kind of like where all these things meet, where your passion, your mission, your calling, and your profession meet. So a lot of the times we might find that we are really into something, but it might not be something that we can work on or something that we can really dedicate much time on. But when you start to see all those things and maybe like start to blend them, something magical always happens, like every time I do Ikigai. So like I said, we're not going to do the whole thing today, but I would like you to get started with the bigger picture. So if you have colors, I sent in the email to have some colors or something. So if you have some colors, draw these 4 circles and make sure they are all connected. So it's really important that at least you have the passion, the mission, the profession, and calling kind of interlaced, because, and do it as big as you can, like do them as big as you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm also going to send you this so you can do it later on, or like ask me any questions, or even like dedicate a little bit more time to it. Nice. And once you finish this, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. That's all you're going to have, because I really want you to just not think about it. 5 minutes to write 3 things. So we're going to work with the outer circles today. 3 things that you love to do, 3 things that you do well, 3 things that you can get paid for, and 3 things that you believe that the world needs. Actually, yeah, 3 minutes. That's all I'm giving you. 3 minutes to write 3 things on each of them, so we can work with the interlacing ones. 3 minutes. Also, when you think about things that you do well, try to also think about things that are not that obvious. Like, for example, oh, I'm good at drawing, or I'm good at, so like maybe like thinking about like qualities that are more like how you relate to other people. Like for me, it's one of the things I found out when I first did my Ikigai is that I find it really easy to communicate something that I understand. So if I learn something, that even if it's something really complex, I'm quite good at communicating this in an easy way. And that really helped me to be like, oh, I think I could be a really good teacher, because like I can do this in my brain, so I can share it with others. So also think about things that are not that obvious.
Hola, perdona, me olvidé qué más
Yeah,
era. Tres cosas que hago. I'm speaking in Spanish, sorry.
it's
Three things,
okay. Uh-huh.
three, three things that I'm doing right. What else?
Yeah, can you see my screen or not? Because here
Yeah,
it says this.
yeah, but
Yeah, you can. Okay, okay.
but it
So
says,
it's three.
where do
What
I
does it
start?
say? Oh no, you can't see my
Yeah.
screen then. Okay, no, there's a
Oh,
problem there. All right, let me just oh, that's interesting. Okay, great. You were not seeing any of the stuff I was sharing. Can you see it now?
yeah. A few things I've been learned. Ah, okay.
And there. Oh, thank you for that. Okay, all right. Okay, sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Zoom is a bit weird sometimes. Okay, so three things I love to do, that's the top. Then three things that you do well, that's the left. Then three things I can get paid for, and then what the world needs from your perspective. Okay, that's good. It's good that you see it now. So I'll give you about another minute. If you completed the three things, maybe push yourselves to write another one. And also, if you're watching this as a recording, please feel free to stop and write as many as you like, because the idea is that you really push yourselves to like write as much as possible. But usually the three things that come up like unconsciously are going to be a great guidance from like for what you want to kind of like take the next step towards. But the more you push yourselves to kind of write, the better. Alrighty. So the next step on this would be to start working with the intersection. So the intersection of what you love to do and what you do well, that's your passion. The intersection of what you love to do and what the world needs, that's your mission. So that might be something like related to like charity or something that has nothing to do with your job. Then what you do well and what you can get paid for can be related to your profession. And then what you can get paid for and what the world needs is related to your calling. So Ikigai, what it does is it brings everything together. So what that sense of purpose, that journey that we want to be walking on, needs to be something that includes the four of them. Because what Ikigai says is that the intersection between your passion and your mission is missing something. The intersection between your passion and your profession is missing something. Yeah. So what we want is to be walking a path that feels full, right? That feels that everything is included, like your passion, your mission, your profession, your calling. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to work on the next intersection. So what I would like you to do is think of one thing for each intersection now. So one thing for your passion, one thing for your mission, one thing for your profession, one thing for your calling. So for example, imagine I wrote here, what I do well, teach, and what I love to do, art. So one of my passions might be teaching art, yeah? Or painting and art. One of my passions might be painting. What I do well, what I can get paid for. Well, what I do well is art. what I can get paid for, maybe teaching art. So my profession might be working as an art teacher. Yeah. So one thing for now, find two things that you think are like the strongest and connect them to just summarize them onto one thing. The same thing here. What I can get paid for and what the world needs. Well, what I can get paid for, maybe workshops. What I think the world needs is more connection. So maybe here could be something like making workshops in which I work with making better communities, making people who are more aware, not making, but like helping people be more aware of who they are and helping them walk this path. How? Well, in community, because for me, community is really important. So that can be my calling. Yeah. So try to think about one thing for each of them that is part of the intersection of these two, and these two. Alrighty. And the last little bit, let's try to at least have a little bit of it finished, would be to find the intersections and to start to understand why it's important that Ikigai kind of has a blend of all of them. Because, for example, the blend between your passion and your mission is like you feel full. Yeah, you feel like, I love doing this, but I don't feel useful. Yeah. The blend between your passion and your profession, you're like, I feel like this. Sorry, that's the one. I feel satisfaction, but not feeling useful. The one that is all about your calling, but you're not making a mission, you're not making money. So it's like, yeah, I love this, but I can't spend 10 hours of my day doing this because I need to pay my bills, like that's a reality. So try to connect these last little bits and find again something in common that your passion and your mission might have, something in common that your passion and your profession might have, which would go here, something in common between your profession and your calling, and something in common between your mission and your calling. So that would go here. So when I say something in common, is like, it might be a title, like a name of a profession, it might be an activity, it might just be like art plus mindfulness, which that's what it was for me mainly. So trying to find two things in common that can make one thing. And like I said, the good thing about like today we're doing it a bit quickly because we can't dedicate an hour and a half to it, but when you dedicate more time to it, you realize that like there's so many options, like the ideas are limitless. So try to make it as crazy as it can go, like don't try to limit yourself to things that already exist or to things that you're already doing. So for me, when I finished my Ikigai, I was like, oh, actually, like mindful art seems like a really cool thing to do. And at the time, I had no idea like what mindful art was. Like it just made sense for me. It was like mindful art, you create art, but with mindfulness. It makes so much sense. But I had no idea what I was doing. Like then I think obviously other people might have had the same ideas, and we sort of started to build this mindful art situation. But I had no idea what I was doing. Like for me, it just made sense. And I started it with Ikigai. So the craziest ideas sometimes start from like playfulness and really connecting with the things that you believe are important for you, and also the things that you are somehow good at, right? Because, or you might find out that you really want to do something and you need some more skills to do it. Like for me, I was like, okay, art is my path. I need to start studying. So I started doing courses. Like I really committed to doing one course every month. And that was like for a year. I was like, for a year, I'm doing one course every month. Like, I don't care. Like, this is my path. I'm walking it. So I really committed to that because it made a lot of sense to me. And then new things started coming up, and connecting with other people, the path started to become a bit more clear. But when I started, it was all about what made sense for me and how I wanted to share it with the world. I was like, when I start doing yoga and meditation and then I start painting, something happens on the blank page. Like I am able to create from a space of self-reflection, to create from a space of being gentle with myself, of being that teacher that I never had, of giving myself time and space and time to explore. So it's all about kind of like blending little things together, and it doesn't have to make sense. Alrighty. And the last little bit, which I'm gonna leave with you to kind of keep exploring throughout this month, would be to find where your ikigai is. So, like we said before, like ikigai is, and all these things that we've been talking about, is more about the path. Yeah. So it's kind of like a bigger umbrella that might include different activities. So for me, I think my ikigai and my purpose have to do with guiding others through, today is more through creativity back to themselves, right? So helping others find their way, find their sparkle, find what they want to do through creativity. So through reconnecting with creativity, because we're all creative and we used to all be artists when we were kids, right? Like we used to all love drawing and doodling and do stuff. And then it gets to a point where we forget that that's what we like to do, and we come to this mental space of thinking and thinking and thinking. So for me, reconnecting with that creativity is the first step to reconnecting with who we truly are. So I believe that my ikigai has a lot to do with that. How I do it? Well, through workshops, through a coaching program, through art, through conversations, through a lot of stuff. Yeah. So it's not just one thing. So that's the one thing that I would like you to take from today, is that your purpose or your ikigai or your dharma, whatever you want to call it, is not about one thing, but it's about a direction, and it's about a way of living in a way, and how you want this to translate is going to change. Like for me, maybe it started as an English teacher, now it's more as a coach. In the future, it might just be as an artist. Like you never know. But for me, it's about helping others reconnect with that creativity today, to reconnect with who they are. And it might look different for everyone. But I really invite you to work with this a little bit further because it's something that you can literally work with for hours. And even if you have like a massive piece of paper, like I did it the first time on like an A3, and I was like putting colors and stuff, and just make it as messy as possible, to kind of come back to that inner child, you know, those things that you enjoyed doing when you were younger, those things that you're like naturally drawn to. They're like great signs towards this path. So here are some little things that the journaling prompts, I'm going to leave them for you as homework because I would like to have a little discussion before we finish. And then the little bit of art, I would like you to start it now. So I would like you to write one word, one phrase, something that you're kind of taking from today's workshop, and have it in front of you for the next 30 days. So we're really giving ourselves a month here to immerse ourselves in something. Like we might not even know what it is yet, but we're giving ourselves 1 month to kind of explore whatever comes. So it might be a word from the meditation, it might be a phrase, it might be a painting that you want to do afterwards, whatever. Like for me, when I first started and I did this activity, it was something that a yoga teacher told me, and then I kind of transformed it into my own quote. But it was like, stay in your discomfort, explore it, and heal. So for me, in the beginning of this journey, walking through discomfort was like a mantra, because I realized that I was skipping discomfort. I was like, no, I'm not getting close enough to that. I'm going to something else. So I was doing that so much that I was getting so close to the things I wanted to do. But because I didn't want to go through that discomfort, I went to something else. So for me, committing to one thing, even if I didn't know it was the right thing, which ended up being the right thing, but committing to that thing for a certain amount of time was the key. So that was my mantra. I had it in front of me for like a year. And every time I went like, oh, this is too hard, or why am I, okay, I'm going through the discomfort. Like, I don't know where this is going to lead me. That's not the matter here. The thing is, I'm working through this discomfort. So I would like you to have like a phrase or a mantra or a word. You're also welcome to close your eyes for a few minutes, for a few seconds, whatever you need, to kind of see what that word might be for you, or it might be really clear and you might have it there. And I invite you to draw it, paint it, add like as many colors as possible, add glitter, and have it in front of you for 30 days. So I'll give you about 5 minutes to kind of come up with that. You can at least get started with it. And then you can keep decorating it or keep adding colors or whatever you want, or maybe even making a drawing with it. Alrighty. And the next about, you can keep drawing. You can keep drawing or painting, whatever you're doing. But the next 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes of the session, I'm going to open them to questions and to discussion at the end. Because everyone who's here live speaks Spanish, I'm going to stop recording after the questions and we can discuss it in Spanish. And then if you're watching the recording, you can just send a little message. So I'm going to create a group for everyone to join. And we're going to give ourselves these 30 days to show the actions that we're doing and to show the little steps that we're taking. So everyone's welcome to join. Obviously, they'll have to watch this before. So if you have any questions or anything that you want to share, you can send me an email. And I'm probably going to create the group today, but we can start working with it from today or from tomorrow, kind of sharing it and having it as like accountability to this journey that we started. But if you have any questions or anything, just send them through there. But are there any questions that you have before we do our little discussion? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording after the questions and we can just do a little discussion in Spanish because you all guys speak Spanish. So yeah, do you have any questions to kind of finish? No? Not?
Necesito tiempo para procesar.
Tiempo. Okay, perfecto. Okay,
Bien.
let's do this. We'll stop the recording. And if you can think of any questions later on, you're welcome to also share them in the group. I'm just going to stop the recording.